This is a continuation of Luminous by Sokka's first fangirl on AO3. This is Chapter 3, titled Lady Impa. King Rome Bosphoramos Hyrule. Link hated a king, and he couldn't bring himself to feel ashamed of it. Rome called him a knight, so shouldn't Link have more respect for him? Perhaps, but all Link wanted to do was still break his stupid nose. Rome looked regretful. "I could not save my kingdom," he said, this dead king surrounded by blue mist and flames. "I could not save my daughter. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, Link, but I will ask anyway. You must save her. Save my daughter." He looked at Rome, and as though from very far away, he heard the words, "Heir to a throne of nothing. Nothing but a failure." Where had that come from? Had Rome said that to the voice? To Zelda? Or was Link imagining things? Rome sighed at Link's continued silence. "I understand if you hate me," he said. "I do," Link said flatly, finally breaking his silence. Rome did not seem surprised. He only nodded slowly, hands clasped behind his back. "A deal is a deal," he said, gesturing to the paraglider leaning against the wall. "Good luck." He smiled faintly, somewhat mischievously, as he began to shimmer and fade from view. "Good luck, Your Highness." "What?" Link demanded, but Rome was gone. Link was left alone at the top of the Temple of Time. The moon shone in the sky, and the paraglider was his at last. But those last words had Link frozen in place. Rome had called him a knight. Then he called him Your Highness. But what was Link a prince of? Assuming he even was. Assuming Rome wasn't screwing with his head for Link's disrespect. He wasn't a prince of Hyrule, surely. Was he not from Hyrule? It all made his head ache. "Zelda?" he asked aloud. Was he serious? There was no answer, just the wind. Link grabbed the paraglider. He wouldn't get any answers in these ruins. He needed to get off this plateau at last. He'd follow the slate, he'd find Impa, and then he'd find whoever gave him his locket. Hyrule was beautiful and full of monsters. Link lost count of how many he fought on his way to Dueling Peaks, but once he got through the mountain, he didn't see any. Just a stable and a huge field behind it, and another shrine in front of it. Stable first, shrine later, he told himself. Exhausted, stumbling, he nearly walked right into a merchant with the oddest shaped pack ever. Some sort of bug? He had a big red nose and freckles, a cheerful grin, and an unfortunate haircut. "Heya," he said brightly. "The name's Beetle, but you can call me, well, Beetle. Makes things easier." Link blinked drowsily. Link, he signed, and immediately cursed himself. What were the odds? Oh, sorry. Can you say that again?" Beetle asked. "Didn't quite catch it." Huh. He understood sign after all. Link immediately liked him, just for that. He was in no position to verbalize anything right now. He signed his name again. "Link?" Beetle asked. Link nodded, and Beetle clapped his hands. "Great," he said. "You buying or selling?" Link had stolen a ragged old pack from a moblin camp, and it was stuffed with, well, nonsense, really. He'd picked up anything that caught his interest. Monster parts, a few bugs, mushrooms, and some other shiny ore he'd found. On second thought, that ore could sell for a lot. "Both," he signed, and Beetle's grin widened. Yeah, Link had a feeling he'd really like this guy. Real beds were a blessing. The shrine wasn't too hard. Horses were simply a gift from Hylia herself. Link took one look and fell in love. It didn't take him long to catch one. He named her Errol. It was the first name that came to mind. She was a beautiful chestnut mare with white spots along her hide and a pale mane and tail. With a full night's sleep under his belt, some rupees and arrows, and his new horse, Link set off for Kakariko village. While he rode, he rambled to Errol and kept taking his locket out to look at it. "You know," he said, "I don't remember a thing. That sounds made up, doesn't it?" Errol whinnied. Link nodded solemnly, like she'd said something very wise. "Exactly," he said. "I didn't even remember my name. The old man called me a knight and a champion, and then he went and called me Your Highness right before he vanished. He was kind of an asshole." He'd like to think the noise Errol made was a laugh. "I think he was screwing with me," he confided, "because I didn't like him. But if that's his idea of a prank, it's a weird one." He'd have to ask this mysterious elder Impa. Hopefully she wouldn't laugh too much. By the time he reached Kakariko, it was dark and lashing rain. He rode Errol slowly through the gate, peering through the sheaths of rain as he shivered. Which house was Impa's? Who could he ask? "Come on, girl," he muttered to Errol, nudging her forward. She went slowly, practically creeping down the path. Windows glowed from within. Lamplight, perhaps, and Link thought longingly of a warm fire. He wished he had a house. "Goodness gracious, little one," a woman cried. Link looked up, startled to find an old woman gaping at him from her doorway. "You've come a long way in this weather." Link nodded, swallowing hard. Was his voice about to leave him again? He was tired and cold. He just wanted to find Impa and get some answers. The woman's eyes widened. She was looking at Link. No. At his hip. At the Sheikah slate. "That slate," she gasped, and Link put a protective hand on it. The woman's eyes roamed over his face, to the locket, the slate, and back to his face again. "Your gracious, your..." She suddenly turned around and shouted into her house. "Olkin! Olkin, get over here! The young man needs an escort!" Huh? No, I don't, Link thought. An old man appeared behind the old woman, and he gaped at Link. "Oh," he said, and then louder again. "Oh!" "Well, don't just stand there," the old woman demanded. "His Grace must speak with Lady Impa." "His what?" "Oh, she means me." "Wait, what?" The old man, Olkin, apparently, hurried to Link's side and gently grasped Errol's reins. "It's an honor, Your Grace," he said. "We Sheikah have been waiting for your return for a long time." "Oh," Link said, thank you?" He didn't know what else to say. It must have been the right thing to say, though, because Olkin beamed at him and began to lead Errol down the gently sloping hill. The old woman watched them leave, a hand on her heart. Shyly, Link waved at her. She waved back, eyes shining. They stopped in front of a large manor up a flight of stairs. 2 guards stood at the bottom of the steps. "Kato, Dorian," Olkin called. "We have a very important visitor." The guards, Kato and Dorian, looked just as taken aback as Olkin and his wife had been. But when they looked at the slate, they quickly dropped to one knee, heads bowed and one hand on their hearts. "Sir Link," one of them murmured, "it is an honor." The one on the left jumped up and hurried forward. Before Link could even blink, the man was swiftly helping him down from Errol's back. When Link stumbled in surprise, the man caught him with a firm, warm hand on Link's arm. "My name is Dorian," he said. "As Kato said, it's an honor to meet you, Your Highness. Lady Impa has been waiting a very long time." She'd been waiting 100 years, apparently. And here Link was in clothes that were too big and too small, covered in bruises with mud on his knees. His hair was half collapsed out of his ponytail. He hardly looked like some impressive, important knight. He most certainly didn't look like any sort of prince. Kato was ushering Ulkin home, kindly but firmly. "I have space in my pen for another horse," he said to Link. "I'd be glad to look after this young lady for you." Poor Errol did need somewhere to rest and dry off. Link nodded, and Kato pointed his home out, only across the path, and led Errol away while Dorian led Link up the stairs. He knocked on the big double doors. "Lady Impa," he called in ringing tones, easily heard even over the pouring rain and howling wind. "Presenting His Highness, Prince Link of the Zora, the Hylian champion and knight to Princess Zelda." That's a mouthful, Link thought blankly. Zora, was that where he was from? How did a prince of another country end up being a knight to a princess of Hyrule? The doors flew open, and a young woman stood there with her mouth hanging open. She took one look at Link and squeaked, burying her face in her hands. "Please, go right in," she yelped, jumping out of the way. "Thank you, Lady Paya," Dorian said, and ushered Link inside. Paya closed the doors behind them, shutting out the rain. Link looked around curiously. The room they'd entered was spacious, wooden floors and walls, red lanterns hanging from the ceiling. There was a painting of a field on one wall, and a long row of portraits of Sheikah men and women on the other, all wearing the same large hat, hung with metal ornaments. At the end of the room, a diminutive old woman knelt on a pile of pillows. "So, you're finally awake, old friend," she said. She raised her head, and Link was met with a pair of kind brown eyes, a mischievous smile, and a round, wrinkled face. Her smile widened into a grin, revealing missing teeth. An eye was painted on her forehead. Impa. This had to be Impa. "It's been a long time, Link," she said. "Do you remember me?" She looked at him with so much hope, like Link wasn't dripping water all over her floor, like he was someone important to her. He shook his head. Her smile didn't waver, but her eyes were sad. "I see," she said gently. "Dorian, you may return to your post. Paya, please fetch some towels and clothes for Link. Oh, and dinner." She smirked at Link. "You look tinier than ever." He had the insane urge to pout at her. She grinned like she knew it. Dorian bowed and hurried back into the rain. Paya, blushing furiously, kept her eyes firmly on the floor as she'd hurried away upstairs for clothes and towels. Impa patted a pillow next to her pile. "Come, child," she said. "Sit with me." Link sat. He twisted the chain of his locket around his hand and tried to think of something to say. He couldn't think of anything. He looked around the room again, studying the portraits. "My ancestors," Impa said. "All our past elders." Link hummed in response. Impa looked at the locket and smiled. "Ah," she said. "I'm glad they left it with you." "Do you know who gave it to me?" "Indeed," Impa said. "I was there when Mipha gave it to you. It was a courting gift." Mipha. The name rang in his head like a bell. Mipha. Mipha. It was a pretty name. He thought of water and kind eyes. Then the rest of Impa's words sank in, and he felt his face turn hot. "Courting," he choked. Honest to goddess, choked. Impa cackled, slapping her knee. Paya came running back down, weighed down with 2 fluffy towels, a robe much like Dorian and Kato's, and black tights. "You haven't changed a bit," Impa laughed. "Even when you don't remember. Oh, bless you, child." Link, much like Paya, buried his face in his hands. Paya slipped away without a word down the hall. Link heard a door open and shut. A moment later, he could smell something warm and savory. Still snickering, Impa threw one of the towels at him. She grabbed the smaller one and dabbed at his hair herself, tutting like a grandmother. "You're drenched," she said. "No shit," Link snarked, and clapped a hand over his mouth, mortified. Impa only laughed again, loud and joyful, though she slapped him with the towel. "There you are," she said. "There's our Link." She cupped his cheek with her tiny wrinkled hand. She smelled like lilies. "It's good to see you again, dear boy." Link didn't remember her, not a solitary thing, yet he felt safe with her. "Upstairs with you," she said. "Dry off, get changed. You can use the first room on your left. Then we can talk." The first room on the left was small but cozy. The bed sheets smelled freshly laundered, and there was a vase of flowers on the bedside table. Best of all, it was warm. The novelty of rain had worn off fast. When it first fell, Link had stopped Errol in the road and tilted his head back to take it all in, full of wonder for something new. But that light drizzle had quickly turned into an ice-cold downpour, and that was decidedly shit. The clothes were warm and soft, and they fit, thank goodness. No shoes, but Link hardly needed them inside Impa's house. He left his hair loose and crept back downstairs. Impa was sitting on her pile of pillows where he'd left her. But she was holding a bowl of rice and meat. Another bowl sat next to her. Paya was pouring cups of something that smelled sweet. Tea, he realized. When Link approached, Paya looked up and nearly dropped the teapot. They both jumped to catch it, and Paya made a truly terrified sound when their hands brushed. Sorry, she yelped. I'm Paya. My name is Paya." "Hello," Link said, slightly dumbfounded. Paya looked at Impa, as if silently asking permission for something. Impa nodded. Paya set the teapot down and fled upstairs. "That girl," Impa sighed, though she sounded fond. "She's always been terribly shy." Link reclaimed his pillow, and Impa nudged the second bowl of meat and rice towards him. Link took a bite and immediately could think of nothing else but the meal. He scarfed it down so fast his throat hurt. When he realized Impa was watching him, he paused, his mouth full, and immediately feeling like an idiot. But Impa only smiled, looking fond and amused. She ate more sedately and patted Link's shoulder. "You need it," she said. "Eat up." He needed no further prompting. He finished fast, and as soon as he set the bowl down, Impa picked up the teacups and handed him one. "You must have so many questions," she said. "Where would you like to start?" Well, she was right. He had lots of questions. A seemingly endless list of questions. He could have started anywhere. But Link tapped his locket. He said, "Mifa gave me this," he asked. "And we were, courting?" "More than courting," Impa said. Her expression turned complicated, fond, sad, amused, worried. "I suppose there's no beating around the bush on this one." She took a long sip of her tea and took Link's hand. "Link," she said, and her voice was so gentle that it began to frighten him. "You and Princess Mifa were married." Thanks so much to anybody who listens to this. This is my first time creating a podfic. If you liked it, please go leave kudos and comments for the original author on AO3. I've left a link down in the description.